So you want to learn how to make a song inspired by Duster, slowcore. Well, fortunately for you, I happen to make a song that sounds pretty similar to a Duster track, and it was pretty successful. It's sitting over like a little over 30,000 streams right now. So here's a preview. So you probably weren't wondering, but just in case you're wondering, like the background change since last time, it's because I accidentally joined the army and now they're making me sit here. But you probably wouldn't have guessed this is the army because it's like, it looks pretty nice. Anyway, that's not the point. Let's just get straight into the song. Okay, so I got it all loaded up. This is the overall what it looks like. It might look a little overwhelming, but I promise I just overcomplicated it. And keep in mind, when you're recording slowcore, or what I've found is that the more simple the melody is, the better it sounds. Like what I'll do is I'll record a really simple melody and then I'll layer it with another simple melody, and basically the harmonies just come together and it'll sound good. Let me show you. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drop the sauce right now, because I know when I first started like trying to make slowcore, I used to overcomplicate it like crazy. I would have way too many effects on my guitar, and I didn't know how to actually record slowcore melody. I didn't know what the chords look like or anything like that. I'm here to tell you that you're overcomplicating it. Do not overcomplicate it like I did. Okay, I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. First things first, right? You'll take your guitar. On your guitar, I'm assuming you have one of these switches, right? It's like, if it's down, it's on this pickup, and if it's up, it's on this one. What I do is I put it up, so it's more towards this pickup, and it gives it like a more warm sound. You could probably switch around and just be able to tell by playing. Like, for example, if I have it down, it sounds like this. Versus if I have it flipped up. Hey, camera. Hey, I'm here. I used to overcomplicate them. Like, I didn't know how exactly to make melodies for slowcore. I'm telling you, they are super simple. For example, let's make one up right now. The one that I just played. Open string on the E. Right? And now all I did is I played that open, and then I picked one note on the A string. Find one that harmonizes, so like, then slide. And that is literally it. You can make a melody, a whole slowcore song off of that. That's how simple it is. So let's actually start breaking the song down. I think on this track, since it's Duster, they kind of have that more like gritty sound. So how I told you to move the switch up, I think I might have actually left it down on this one, in this case for Duster, because I mean, each artist, like, they have their own sound. The effects rack for this song is super simple. I have an EQ on this, and I took out some of the high ends and I took out the low ends. Obviously, if you don't know by now, you always want to take the low ends out of like almost any instrument, right? Like, not too much to where it like takes away, but when you have like too much low end, it'll make the mix really muddy, and you don't want that. You want each sound to kind of be clear and have its own space in the headphones. This is just to turn up the volume. And then I have a panning thing here. This is a free plugin, by the way. This is Panagement. Basically, you can move this little thing around, and that's where it'll sound inside of your headphones. Or here, as you can see. So just like I showed you how to make a melody, I made a simple melody, and this is what it sounds like. And then what I did is I layered another guitar, like I also said, but this time, how I panned the other guitar slightly to the left, I panned this guitar slightly to the right. So one is here and one's over here, and it gives them each their own space, so they're not like clashing in the middle. This is what the melody sounds like, the counter melody. So then later in the song, you're gonna hear a lead guitar, and this one's a little bit more complicated, but I'll show you what I did. So this is the lead guitar you hear later in the song. So you may be wondering how I got that like gliding effect, and I'm gonna show you. So basically I use one of these thingies. It's called a slider. There's different kinds, but the one I use is a glass slider. And basically what you do is you put it on your finger and then you lightly press against the strings and then you slide as you're playing and it creates that sound. If you don't have one of those, you don't need it. You can just make a lead melody that sounds good without it, but a lot of people use this and it's like, I always love how it comes out. It sounds really good. So when you add all this together, that's what it sounds like. And like I said, it's really simple. Like, do not overcomplicate it. Like, all I did was take super simple melodies and layer them together, and that's it. Now, people might hate me for this, but I don't care, because at the end of the day, I'm getting quality drum sounds. Let's hope I don't get like copyrighted. So these drums, I'm just gonna ungatekeep. I'm gonna show you the method. Stop buying drum kits, okay? You don't have to buy drum kits. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can. Drum kits are probably honestly better than this method. It's probably better to go buy drum kits because you're getting a more quality sound. But I've been doing this and it seems to work. Let's pick any song in slowcore. So let's just take a song from like I Don't Like Mirrors. Probably not a good idea. Probably shouldn't be doing this. Not gonna play it, but copy the link. YouTube to MP3 converter. Make sure you don't get scammed. Sometimes these like websites are a little sketchy. You paste the link, download it, get the file, and then you can just look up stem splitter. Fader is a good one, or I usually use vocal remover. They're both good. Make sure you go to splitter, then just drag the file. And now what this is gonna do is gonna individually split each of the sounds, like the drums from the guitar, from the vocals. Then you'll be able to take the drums directly from the song, place them into your DAW, chop them up, and use them how you want. Now here you go. You can see. Turn down the music, turn down the bass. Now watch this. Now it depends on the song. Sometimes, obviously, the quality is going to be more shit than it was in the original song, right? That's always going to be a problem. But usually you can blend it and it sounds fine, right? And it depends on the song. Some songs it'll be harder to get the drums, some it won't. So then what you do is you save it. You just click Save Drums. Then you have the drum file. Then what you can do is go into your DAW and literally just drag it in and then use it as your own. You can either stretch it to fit your song, or you can like individually chop them up and place them where you want them, right? I'm not gonna do all that, but like that's essentially what I did for this song. And then together, you get the gist. One other thing I added on here, which I really would recommend like a bass guitar, but I don't have one right now, so I had to use this plugin for bass. Keybase, this is a free version too, but it's a really good bass, so I recommend this. All I did was I added a bass line, same notes from root notes that I was playing on the guitar. Do not overcomplicate it. That's the biggest thing. You don't have to stay, but I'll still be loving you always. Yeah, so the vocals, same thing. I can't stress it enough. Don't overcomplicate it. People were surprised, right? How'd you get such clear vocals? Take a look what's on the vocal chain. An EQ, all I did was take out some of the low end and a slight boost of the high. An EQ and the compressor is all that I added on the song to get these clear vocals. You don't have to stay. For slowcore, it's like you don't have to go crazy on the vocals. Vocals in slowcore are like kind of like ducked into the instrumental, like they kind of blend in. I decided not to do that for this song. This probably isn't like what Duster would have done, but I thought this was the move, and I like the way it turned out. All I'm using is an Audio-Technica AT2020. It's like $100 microphone, right? You can obviously get better microphones. I'm gonna upgrade soon to a better microphone, probably like a Shure SM7B, and eventually a Newman. But this works, you know. It's a pretty good microphone, and obviously a pop filter. You know what I mean? So after that, I just added a couple risers to like keep everything blended in. Nothing crazy. And then later in the song, you'll hear this lead melody, this lead guitar come in. Just a simple melody layered. On this one, I'll show you what I added. So instead of how on the other ones I had a guitar pan to the right, a guitar pan to the left, on this one, I use this plugin again. I automated it, so it's going back and forth between ears. So it's giving it like some variation. So after that, I decided to add one of those like motivational speeches. It's kind of like a telephone effect that I've heard of in a lot of stuff.
Now, there's lots of different ways to interpret the world, and you can maybe even make a case that there's an endless number of ways to interpret the world.
This is what it sounded like before I did anything to it.
No, there's lots of different ways to interpret the world, and you can maybe even make a case that...
So how I made that telephone effect, I use this Valhalla Vintage Verb on the default setting, but you can use whatever reverb you have. I added an EQ, and I made this kind of like down, like upside down V shape, and doing that makes a telephone effect.
No, there's lots of different ways to interpret the world, and you can maybe even make a case.
So after that, I loaded up this plugin, like a lo-fi vintage plugin, and it'll make your like tracks sound vintage and lo-fi. It's also free, so if you don't have it, like I highly recommend it. And I literally just took the default setting and put it on here.
No, there's lots of different ways to interpret the world.
And after that, I put a compressor on it to like keep the volumes all the same, and that was that.
The world, and you can maybe even make a case that there's an endless number of ways to interpret the world.
And yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to it. Slowcore, it's super simple. This is the way that I've learned to make slowcore. I'm gonna be doing another slowcore tutorial later on showing you how to get like a softer sound, like maybe a different inspired artist. I hope this helps. So I'm gonna play the whole thing. And by the way, this song is on streaming platforms. So if you wanna go check out my stuff, I would greatly appreciate it. So here you go.
Lots of different ways to interpret the world, and you can maybe even make a case that there's an endless number of ways to interpret the world. Just because there's a very large number of ways to interpret the world doesn't mean there's a very large number of meaningful and sustainable ways to interpret the world. These people that you're comparing yourself to, you don't really know very well. What that means is that you see their shiny outside, but you don't see the reality of their life.
thinking. It's coming to me. It's actually coming to me.